Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Land of Shambhala Holistic Life Series. Today we will have Rinpoche talking about his vision for the project, and we will be talking to members of the project group with the specific elements of what has happened with the project and what we are planning for the future. So tonight we will first start with a short video that Rinpoche has done, and then we will welcome Rinpoche afterwards to talk about his vision for the project further. So we will start with our introductory video of the vision for Land of Shambhala.
Okay, so this vision is everybody's wish, everybody's dream. But people don't know how to dream come out, like people don't know how to manifest. So I'm saying always, if the peace, harmonious, perfect peace and harmony is if our wish is everybody's wish, that definitely there's no question mark. Even you core peace or not core, you harmonious, you core this or not, but everybody's wish and longing for is that, So that means peace. The peace is not just somebody not disturbing you, not stressing you. It's not only that. Peace means is the greatest happiness, no worries, nothing, like that kind of peace. The harmonious means it's not bothering neighbors, each other. It's not like that. Harmonious means harmonious, the externally, internal in your body, or elements, healthy, incredible. Or then mind is incredible, peaceful, healthy. So like that, and then if you are like that, then all your fears and worries, everything go away. And then if you go the distance away, then you have opportunity to see more deeper. More deeper means your Buddha nature. Your Buddha nature means the perfect of within yourself. So that's why my books are called Unveiling your sacred truth, which means the perfect nature within yourself. You can discover that. Usually we can't because we have too much fear, stress, and like we have too much worry, too much distraction. We are lost on the surface. So that's why is need this. Okay. So to do this is I have to do something. Physical representation. Physical representation, then I have to do, then maybe I have to do in Australia. I have no choice because, Australia is not an easy place to do it, but I have to. So that's what I'm doing. Why? Because we don't have this perfect peace and harmony usually because we are all become, everybody is biased. Everybody is a sectarian, So that's why I want to show representation. How is it possible philosophically everybody is not biased, religiously not everybody is not biased, and everybody is unbiased. Everybody is friendly. Everybody is supportive. Everybody is harmonious. So for this reason, you have to do physically the healthy reasons. I invite all the medical medicine, like the systems all together and make medical fine. And then I invite all the philosophers and all the religion teaching, everything, and non-religion, non-religion and all the spiritual, all the spirituality. You invite together, and then we know how to make a real representation of peace and harmony, perfect. So that's what we try to do. That's my vision. Yes, that is a representation. We have to build Land of Shambhala in Australia. Oh, this one I have to build first farm line. The farm is you have all the medicines from the all systems, and then you have these deities, like every traditional deities, the medicine deities, and angels, everything there, and physical representation. And then you have these trees and the herbs and everything there. And then you have classes, this, and study, exercise, yoga, tai chi, everything, every tradition exists in the world. We try to everybody have a room. Everybody have a place to express this. Everybody can show this value, So I want to do that way. And then we can do retreat and studies, classes, everything. We do this in peace and harmony, remain non-sectarian way. So that means we need, many, many things.
Hello, everyone. Today is I would say, auspicious day. Why auspicious day? Because we have this opportunity to talk about the land of Shambhala. To talk in land of Shambhala, why is it so auspicious? Because the only way the whole world have perfect peace and harmony is we have to understand the Shambhala pure realm, and we have to build the connection with Shambhala pure realm, and we have to connect with the Shambhala warriors and warriors, the heroes and heroines. This is the only way our world rescue from the two extremes of materialistic extremist or fundamentalist religious extremist. So this is, I'm not talking about just a fundamentalist religious point of view, but a more practical level and according to the prophecies. So therefore, very important, we build a representation of Shambhala on our earth. So that's why we choose to Australia the great land and huge human history, 60,000 years, and many, many reasons we choose here. But what we want is everybody's wish, because everybody's wish and dream is perfect peace and harmony within ourselves and the world. So there is no any other instruction we alone prophesize is only the Kalachakra Tantra through the Shambhala, only this way. So that's the only reason entire my dedication to go this way, because this is a biggest vision, the perfect peace and harmony whole world. So that means individuals, not just temporarily, we have a little short time peace and happy life, but everyone. But to do this, we need real example, physical example we need in this earth. Why? Because people not get it, not easily get it. People have to experience. That's why we building this, we making huge effort. Regardless our progress so far, and we have huge vision, and I have huge vision, and I have great confidence, and no doubt we can do this. Therefore, in my dedication life as Rinpoche, I study all religions as much as I can, and also non-religious point of view, scientific point of view, everything, and then find the way and connecting with Shambhala so we can have perfect worlds, peace and harmony for everybody, not just temporary life, but also forever next future lives. So that's why we build in the Land of Shambhala, because we have to experience in that way. I have to connect with every talent. Every talent. Your talent have room for peace and harmony. Your talent have room connecting with Shambhala. Your talent have room for golden age. So that's why we build in our land perfect. When you are entering, you can feel it, Shambhala. You can feel it, that golden age for our world. And you, all your talent, you connect with there. And your race, where you come from, your background, your culture, everything has room and connection. Why? Because this is Shambhala. Shambhala, Kalkis made that everybody have the same root. Everybody understand the same nature. So therefore, is not a separate religion, not separate races, not separate cultures. Everyone can understand each other perfectly, not only understand the differences, but they understand the root is the same. We all same. We can understand this, we can feel it, this. Not just temporarily you are entering the land, you have a perfect peace in your mind. Not only that, but you can feel it, the connection. You can feel it, that at the source, and you can feel it, that root, okay? And you can feel it, the future. So we're going to build like that land. But of course, we have to take steps, step by step. So we need a lot of help, support. So I would say, try understanding this and join with this perfect vision. Okay, perfect vision, support by prophesies as omniscient, and also logically makes sense and experientially makes sense. Because always everybody's feel they are individual, they are separated, they are disharmony. But we have to find the same root, and your talent, your experience, your capacity, your limitation, everything has room, has fit in. Okay, so that we try to build in. So then I have many ways to connect in. So the details I'm not going to talk today. Everybody learn continuously. But the most important, please pay attention and try to understand and try to feel it and join in. And so we can manifest that as soon as possible. So, yeah. So that's I would say today. So then some people can explain more the details, what we try to do in those things. So then if you have a question, the end, I try to answer as well. Thank you so much to join today.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Now we will hear from Chloe, who will further talk about the vision and the whole project, what is involved with the buildings, the teachings, the offerings, etc. So we'll hand over to Chloe to talk about that.
Okay, thank you, Tanya. I am just going to give us an introduction to the project. This project is quite large and has been going on for many years. So we have the foundational team that is made up of Rinpoche, obviously guiding everything, and then Tanya and Dan, Julie, Jackie, Vanessa, Karen, and myself helping a bit. But I'm sure this is just the beginning. You'll hear from some of the team members today, but this project is so big that we hope that you all help join the team and it grows as we continue to go through the project. So, Land of Shambhala is going to focus on bringing all aspects of Kalachakra together. So, it will be a place where people can harmonize their body, speech, and mind with the environment, with the internal, with the external. So, the whole entire grounds will be extremely beautiful and inspiring to the mind, because we hope that people of all religious traditions and backgrounds come to Land of Shambhala and find something in the environment that helps them realize there is something really special here. And for the students practicing the Kalachakra Tantra path, they will be able to practice the astrology, the medicine, do the Kalachakra yogas, hopefully through the completion stage, and be able to harmonize all of their internal aspects with their external environment, and we hope all reveal their enlightened Kalachakra, their enlightened nature. So at the Land of Shambhala, we have a lot of elements in land and on the ground. So we will hope to harmonize that with aspects that relate to fire. We have a reservoir, so relate to the water, relate to the wind and the air and the space. Land of Shambhala is located in Australia, in Victoria, on 40 acres of land located near the Cathedral Mountain Ranges and Lake Eildon, and very close to the Dandenong Rainforest. So it's in a really magical space that has so many different beautiful elements of the earth. And on our property, many different animals come and visit, the birds, the kangaroos, the wombats. And so it really is a very special place. Khentrul Rinpoche and the team in Australia spent many years going to many different properties, trying to find just the right space that really felt harmonious and peaceful and is enough of an escape from people's city life or day-to-day activities, so that when they do visit this place, they have an opportunity to see something greater. We have quite an ambitious vision for the property. This is our quick little map to help you understand some of Rinpoche's vision, and some of this has already been built. So to harmonize all the elements, we have an area up near the top, which will be the farmland. So about 10 acres of this property will remain farm. The property is zoned for farming, and we aspire to continue working with the council to be able to transition it to a space where we can build everything that we envision. But in the farm area, that will be talked about in a lot of detail by Julie and Vanessa, so I'll leave that. But as far as special objects, we hope to have the biggest prayer wheel in the Southern Hemisphere. There are not a lot of prayer wheels yet in the Southern Hemisphere, so this is a really big opportunity. Anywhere that any prayer wheel is put of any size, it usually brings peace and the opportunity for a lot of visitors and people to make merit, especially those who may not even understand but are inspired to spin the prayer wheel. And we'll have places for people to stay, accommodations, a wellness center, a cafe, just the temple, and stupas. So I'll go into that in a moment. One of the most important things that we'll be building at Land of Shambhala is a temple. Rinpoche has been spending quite a bit of time trying to come up with the exact right design for this temple. He is very inspired and connected with his homeland and would like to ensure that it really authentically showcases Tibetan style and architecture in the design, as well as represent the different enlightened activities, because we need all of the enlightened activities to realize the golden age and bring the vision together. So the enlightened activities are represented by different shapes, such as the circle for pacifying and the triangle for increasing and attracting abundance. So Rinpoche has been working quite a bit to try to develop exactly the right layout for where the temple will exist on the property. And we will continue to share drawings and visions of this as it comes together, but this will be the main feature on the property. In addition to a temple, we are looking to build a miniature replica of the Swayambhu of the Stupa at Kathmandu, and also a replica that will be quite much larger of Dolpopa Sherab Gyaltsen Stupa. So this is the Seen Liberation Stupa of 100,000 Buddhas. And Rinpoche envisions that we will create 100,000 Buddhas to put inside the stupa to really transform the mind of all the visitors to this property. To date, we've spent quite a bit of time exploring designs for the lodge and the wellness center, as well as the retreat space, but we will need to continue this exploration, but we do have some designs. Throughout the space, you'll be able to do a lot of activities when you visit. As I mentioned, people will be able to explore astrology and medicine, Kalachakra, the yogas. But in addition to that, we will have a lot of spaces for anyone with or without a religious background to be able to connect to the space through blessed water at the Medicine Buddha Fountain, the organic produce and healthy food in the Ayurveda Cafe, and natural medicine, and walking around and seeing healing deities, which the others will talk about throughout the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Tanya so that she can explain to you what we have done so far.
Thank you, Chloe. So I wanted to just bring to life for everyone the journey that we have been on in the last couple of years in a couple of different elements. So one, important part of this is creating the auspicious conditions for the land of Shambhala to manifest here. So Rinpoche spent an extraordinary amount of effort and time along with the Sangha here to do the land consecration, which involved filling treasure vases along with the Jomi Kazug puja, and we erected the Jomi Kazug pillars as part of that. We also had prayer flags sponsored from the Sangha all over the world that are all around the property as well. So with the puja, we buried treasure vases on the land to create the auspicious conditions for everything to arise. So over the last couple of years, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the physical work that has gone into the project. So in 2020, we erected 50 prayer flagpoles that line the entrance of Land of Shambhala. We also put up 200 perimeter prayer flags, which were all donated by students around the world. We planted 300 trees on the property. We also took down kilometres of internal fencing and barbed wire to clean up the space, along with cleaning out blackberry bushes and trees across the property. We built a double deer fence to the farm on the side of the property. We'd also built a worm farm that creates the conditions for the trees to grow. We'd cleared away invasive species of trees near the waterways, so a huge environmental cleanup on the land as well. And the pathways for the double dorje food forest were also created. And in 2021, transformed the cow pasture into a workable growing medium, planting over another 100 plants for the orchard and food forest. Repaired the overpass on the road of the property. We'd also added retaining walls to the side of the driveway in order to make lotus ponds that line the driveway in the future. We built a greenhouse, baled and harvested our own hay as well, and leveled the site for the new shed, which has been permitted and purchased, so quite a large shed. And we'd installed multiple electrical boxes so the shed and the fountain could have power as well. 11 acres of the land has been trenched and put a natural gravity-based water irrigation system in as well, so we can keep the farm and the grove going with the auction. And started the pathways and foundations for the Medicine Buddha Mandala Garden. So that's all the physical work that was done on the property. In terms of the non-physical work, there's been so many of the Sangha members involved in planning, meetings, sketches, council meetings, designs, research. There's been so much research involved in terms of the food forest, the orchard, the medicinal plants, the business plans and social media. But I wanted to also call out someone who has been a pivotal part of this project over the last 2 years or longer, which is our live-in volunteer, Dan. So he has put in a tremendous amount of work. He's been instrumental on the daily upkeep of everything to do with the land, and the maintenance of the property and farming equipment. But he's also done an incredible amount of work in terms of his handiwork at Land of Shambhala, but also for the Tibetan Buddhist Rime Institute. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of the work that he's done, he's handmade the 50 prayer flag toppers that line the driveway, which are stainless steel and were hand painted. He's also constructed the Jomikazu pillars, which were hand painted and stenciled by hand. He constructed the outdoor campsite and kitchen so that when volunteers come, we've got a space that we can sit and have. He's made seating out of rammed earth. That's the worm farm there and the rammed earth. And at Rime, he's also built the Sangha unifying stupa, the fence, shelving for Rinpoche's outdoor kitchen and shed. He built the mandala houses and prayer tables for the Jomikazu Puja and the Kalachakra empowerment. So just an extraordinary amount of work. So yeah, Dan, we couldn't have done this without you. So thank you very much for all the work that you've put in over the last little while. So we appreciate it very much. So now I will hand over. Oh, I'll just talk about also our volunteers. So we've had so many volunteer days over the last couple of years, and we couldn't have done any of the physical work on site without the support of the Sangha community here. So thank you to everyone that's come and volunteered, rain, hail or shine, and we really mean rain, hail or shine. Yeah, it's been really great community days out there, and we hope to continue these. And you can hop on our website and just have a look when our next volunteer day is and come down anytime and assist with anything on the land. So we'd really appreciate it and love you to be part of the project and part of the Sangha. So I will now hand over to Julie, who will talk about the Medicine Buddha.
Hello, and thank you for listening. I just wanted to go into a little bit of detail, not too much, about the Medicine Buddha Garden and also the food forest, just from the perspective of the idea behind them and a little overview of what they're going to look like and do for the property. So the Medicine Buddha Garden we have decided to call the Sudarshana Medicine Buddha Garden, which is the name of Medicine Buddha's Pure Land. The garden will be designed in the geometric shape of the Medicine Buddha mandala from the Sherab Dolpopa Gyaltsen text, which Rinpoche uses for empowerments and practices. In the centre, we're going to build a beautiful fountain, Medicine Buddha fountain. So we'll have a Medicine Buddha statue constructed It'll be about the size of a human being sitting in lotus posture. And then surrounding the Buddha will be a beautiful medicinal tree which will form a canopy over the Buddha. And on the top will be a beautiful lotus. So the water in the pond will be produced from some blessed water from Rinpoche's root guru, Lama Lobsang Trinley. And that water will flow up through the trunk of the tree and then flow down like an umbrella around the Buddha and into the actual pond. So this will be, it'll look beautiful, but also the water will be completely blessed, and people will be able to collect water so that they can wash their body or wash it over their face, and it'll have a healing quality. Rinpoche's teacher, Lama Lobsang Trinley, had leprosy and went into a 3-year retreat, and during that time completely cured himself of the disease and spent the rest of his life teaching and healing others. So he's an absolutely amazing example of, particularly of healing, but of the power of meditation and practice, and how we really can heal our body and mind. So that water will be available for everyone. As you walk through the garden, you'll walk through a beautiful gate. So we'll have 4 gates, and on each side of the gates there'll be 2 prayer wheels. Each prayer wheel will contain 850,000 medicine Buddha mantras, which you can spin as you go through the gate. And then as you get to the other side, you'll be greeted by 2 Buddhas at each gate. And they'll be beautiful Buddha statues and surrounded by lovely medicinal herbs and flowers. Then at the eastern gate, you'll be greeted by 2 of the Aryataras, Ritro Lomo Gyonmo, who is also known as Parnasivari, and Maya Chenmo, who removes all types of poison. Parnasivari is a deity who dispels all forms of disease, including deadly epidemics. There were many pujas made over the last couple of years to this deity, as you probably know, to reduce the impact of coronavirus. And Maya Chenmo removes poisons not only from people, but also from the environment. So they will completely bless the land of Medicine Buddha and the mandala garden. So throughout the garden, there'll be many beautiful medicinal plants, flowers, trees. We'll have gems, minerals, and all sorts of ingredients used in Tibetan medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, and Chinese medicine. The geometric pathways which form the mandala lines will be wide enough so that everyone, including people in wheelchairs, can easily walk around. The walls will be made out of beautiful rocks, and there'll actually be about 1 kilometre of walls, so we have an enormous amount of work to do, but it'll look beautiful once they're made. So the idea for the whole garden is that if you were to look down from an aerial view, you would see the Sudarshana pure realm with the lotus in the middle, the palace, and all of the gates. The reason we wanted to do this was to bring about the idea of health, healing, and make a paradise for people to be able to walk through, experience, and also later on so that we can actually produce healing medicines, different types of aromatherapy, and hopefully eventually a traditional Kalachakra medicine to help people and help to heal them. So that's the general idea of the Medicine Buddha Garden, and it's one of the projects that we're working a lot on at the moment and focusing quite heavily in this area of the Land of Shambhala. Okay, so now I'll just talk a bit about Malaya Grove, which will be the food forest of prosperity. So Malaya Grove is designed in the shape of a double vajra or a double dorji, which symbolises absolute stability of the physical world and powerful protection that cannot be destroyed. The shape is associated with the Buddha Amoghasiddhi, whose mudra is granting protection or fearlessness with his hand raised in an outward-facing palm. His consort is green Tara. The colour green represents the natural growth and abundance of the environment, and green Tara symbolises the birth and propagation of all things. The entire food forest is going to measure 108 centimetres in diameter. So metres, not centimetres. The entire food forest is also designed to bless people and to bring great prosperity, and also to be a paradise for people to walk through. So in the centre we have the Dromi Kazig pillars at the moment, but eventually we'll have a complete palace with all of the taras and all of the blessings that come with the Dromi Kazig Puja. You may or may not have seen the Dromi Kazig Puja, but it's an incredibly detailed and wonderful puja that Rinpoche kindly bestowed on us and is teaching us to perform for ourselves to help all beings. It purifies unfixed karmas, and unfixed karmas which create obstacles such as diseases, spirit or demonic harm, bad fortune, and instead creates the causes for us to experience good fortune, prosperity, vitality, long life, good health, and good practice in the Dharma. We're very grateful to our Vietnamese community, I should have mentioned before, who've been very generous in offering to help make statues and various objects for Land of Shambhala. So throughout the food forest, we will have many different deities. We're going to put them in different places so that as you meander through the garden, there'll be all types of healing deities from different traditions. So we have up here at the moment, this is the Ashwini Kumaris, who are Vedic gods of medicine in the Hindu tradition, and Isis, who is a goddess of healing from the ancient Egyptian tradition. We're not fixed on who we'll put in, but I'll just name a few of the ones we've been thinking of. Asclepius is the god of medicine from ancient Greek tradition, and he also has 4 daughters. Hygeia, who's the goddess of hygiene, Lasso, the goddess of recuperation from illness, Asiso, the goddess of the healing process, and Aigul, the goddess of good health. We are also looking at Ea from the ancient Norse tradition, who was a goddess of healing, Anahita, a Persian goddess of fertility, water and health, Sulis, a healing goddess celebrated at the Bath hot springs, Aramed, an Irish Celtic goddess of herbalism, Baosheng Daodi, who was a skilled Chinese doctor, Shenong, who is thought to have taught the Chinese their practices of agriculture and herbal remedies, and the 8 immortals who bestow life and destroy evil from Chinese mythology. And at the end we also have Dhanvantari, a Hindu god of medicine. So the idea of the food forest is, as Rinpoche was saying, for The realm of Shambhala is a beautiful, bountiful realm where you don't have to worry about food. Everything manifests because of the merit. So we'd like to think of the food forest as a beautiful place you can walk, and there's food, there's beautiful fruits and nuts everywhere, a place of abundance, a place of recuperation, and a place of healing. So I hope that one day you're able to join us, and if you'd like to participate in any of the processes in building this wonderful paradise, then I hope you can come. So thank you very much.
Hi, thank you, Julie, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I'm going to talk about Malaya Grove, whereas Julie talked about Malaya Grove more from the perspective of the spiritual, the Rime, the Buddhist side. I'm much more about the practical side, the actual physical creation of Malaya Grove, the growing and the planting and such. So the first aspect I'd like to talk about is the food forest. So as the name suggests, it is a forest that is filled with edible plants, but it is much more than that. It's much more about than just plants that you can eat. All food is medicine, so really we can see it as a forest of health and of healing. So if we look at the first diagram, we can see the layout of the forest. You can see the double dorji shape that Julie was talking about. And these are all the pathways that you'll be able to meander through the forest and hopefully enjoy some of the fruits and the vegetables and all the abundance that we hope to grow. So the next clip is a little video. Another video, thanks. The video shows the scope of what we're actually hoping to do. As Julie mentioned, it's quite vast. It's 108 metres in diameter, or 354 feet. And so we have a lot of pasture, a lot of grasses. And what we hope to do is obviously transform this into a forest. And to do that, we have drawn inspiration from permaculture, and in particular, the use of the tree guild. So we have an image here of looking down on a tree guild. And what a tree guild is it's a single tree that forms the central element of the guild. And in our case, it will be a fruit or a nut tree. And surrounding the tree will be all the companion plants. And all these plants work together in support of that main tree and also of support of each other. And each plant forms a particular function. And in many cases, a lot of the plants actually form more than two functions. So they all work together to create a micro ecosystem. So we plan to plant, it's got to be in the hundreds of these tree guilds within the forest. So all these micro ecosystems working together, being interconnected to create this incredible forest of abundance. So because the tree guild is so important to the creation of the food forest, I thought I'd talk a little bit more detail about that. So we have different aspects that come together, the groupings of plants that work together within this guild. So our first group of plants are the attractors, and these plants attract those beneficial insects such as the pollinators, our bees and butterflies, and also our predatory insects, that of ladybugs and spiders, that will help control those problem and damaging insects. Because obviously we're a Buddhist place, we will not be using insecticides, so we need nature to do that work for us. Then we have our next group of plants, which are the repellers. Now these plants are very aromatic, and for some reason many pests don't like that smell, so things like snails and slugs are quite put off by the smell of chives and mint. Good for us, but not so good for those pests. Then we have the mulches and the compost makers. Now these plants create the organic matter and improve our soil structure, as well as reducing weeds. So they often have very, very large leaves, and we can use what's called the chop and drop method, where those leaves will end up on the ground and do that function of creating that compost and mulch. So pictured here we had the rhubarb and the artichokes as an example. And then we have our next group, which are the accumulators and the fixers. The accumulators are plants that have very deep roots, and they draw the nitrogen up to the surface, allowing all the other plants within the guild to feed off that nitrogen. And then you have the suppressors, which is another group, and these plants suppress the grasses, which we have an abundance of, and all of the weeds. So they help to retain moisture and create good soil structure. And we have things like lots of the ground covers, the herbs, thyme, oregano, and nasturtiums, which we have pictured here. So all together they combine to make the tree guild. So not only do we need hundreds of the actual central element, we actually need thousands of the companion plants. So in order to do that, we have our greenhouse, which we put up this year, and we will be growing a lot of seeds. There's my dog Alice. She features in lots of my photos. And in the next slide, you can see our very first seedlings that we grew, or in the process of growing, and they are things like rhubarb, yarrow, chives, and artichokes. So these are the plants that are our first companion plants for some of the trees that we've already established in the food forest. Things like walnuts, mulberries, nectarines. We also have 17 cherry trees, which will encircle the Dromikazug pillars. And that will be a beautiful display of pink and white flowers, and then we add the lavender and all these other levels of plants. So we hope to create this beautiful abundance, which is not only beautiful to walk through, but is actually really great for our bodies and for our mind as well. Okay, so the next element we'll talk about in Malaya Grove is the medicine Buddha garden, the Sudarshana. And here you can see the very beginnings, the start of the pathways. You can see that shape starting to take place. And in our next slide, we have a picture. This is Dan and I working with the dumpy level and the tractor to create a level foundation for the fountain. The fountain's really quite big. It's 6 meters in diameter, so it's going to hold a lot of water, as well as our beautiful Buddha statue and tree, which will shower down that water around the Buddha. So it's really important to make a really good solid foundation. And you can see our tractor. I have to give a shout out to the tractor. It's been a fantastic asset to the Land of Shambhala, and Dan has become very proficient in its use as well. It's been most helpful for many of our projects. And you can see there the overhead shape of the mandala, the medicine mandala garden. So we'll have all medicinal and herbal plants within this garden, all our healing plants. And we will work closely with experts such as Kati, who's going to be talking about the Tibetan medicine in up-and-coming talks, and as well as with local experts as well. One thing we do have to deal with is the extremes of temperature. We often have summers that are very hot, that can exceed temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius, which I think is about 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And we often experience drought as well. And our summers are quite cold. We don't actually get snow, although you can experience snow about 10 minutes away in the winter time, but we do have many heavy frosts. So we have quite extreme conditions that we need to deal with. So we need to work out what we can best plant and what will grow well within our garden. And next we have some of our aspirations. We would very much love to have some sandalwood groves. We have a native sandalwood tree, an Australian sandalwood tree, which has very good quality, I've been told, very high quality like the Indian sandalwood. And it grows a bit further north, but I'm fairly confident that we should be able to get this one going. All sandalwood trees require a host plant, and in the case of Australian sandalwood, we have the acacia tree, which is a common name as a wattle tree. And we've got a picture of that up next, Chloe. So these are the beautiful yellow flowers. So I can imagine these beautiful aromatic trees with dotted in between all these beautiful yellow flowers. So I think it would be something to behold. Another aspiration we have is for the glass hothouse, the conservatory. Many of the healing plants, especially of the Ayurvedic condition, are more used to growing in climates that are closer to the equator with a much hotter and more humid environment. So if we can create a glass house, then we have the opportunity to really expand on the type of healing plants that we can grow. And again, it will be something that will be very beautiful for us to visit and walk through and to also learn about as well. Okay, well that's about all I have for my aspect of Malaya Grove, and I'd like to finish on, I like this photo. It's a sunset photo that was taken at New Year's Eve this year actually, so I felt it was quite auspicious. And just on the other side of those driveway trees is where the actual Malaya Grove resides, and just over the hill is the food forest. So thank you everyone for listening, and I hope to see you all at Land of Shambhala at some point.
Okay, thank you so much, Vanessa and Tanya and Julie, for sharing. And Rinpoche, we're going to now talk about, the future of building this together. We're trying to give you a tiny glimpse into all of the work that goes on for Land of Shambhala, because for most people around the world, Rinpoche students, you might not be able to really understand what we're doing or see it just from a distance. So we're hoping that this helps you understand a little bit better about the project. So our immediate next steps is the Medicine Buddha Mandala. That is what we are working to complete within the next several months. The Medicine Buddha Mandala completion will really help cement our first area that we needed to do for our long-term vision, which is establish a farm. As we mentioned in the beginning, this community that we have chosen to become a part of is a farming-based community in Australia. So it's very important that we're respectful to the neighbors and the land and actually integrate with the area that we are. Once we complete our farm, and simultaneously, we will continue getting Rinpoche's vision together for the actual space and applying for our permits for building. So that's part of our next step. So no matter where you are in the world, if you have some skills and you feel like contributing, then please do volunteer. You can donate. There's really no limit to how you can volunteer. With the border opening up, if you want to come fly out here for your vacation and to camp and volunteer, you're most welcome to do that. We have another student. We are grateful he is helping with the Tibetan sachet, the feng shui of the land, which he can do from where he is right now. And there are students able to help us with naming areas of the project or designing aspects or designing statues. So really, you can find a way to help from where you are or come visit and help from here. I'd like to open it up now to any questions for Rinpoche or for the team about the project. So if you could just add them to the Q&A section, and we will address them. We'll have actually Rinpoche address the questions. Let me put him back on. Okay. If you have any questions and you've added them to the Q&A section in the Zoom, we'll go ahead and ask them. So let's see what we have in. Sorry, there's. Oh, no questions yet. Or if I do see some in the chat, but you need to put them into the Q&A because we can't figure out the languages as easily from the chat. But let's see. One moment. Well, I'll start. Rinpoche, how do you think students can best help with this project who are overseas?
Of course, you can donate. That is really help. You can write grant for government. That's maybe help. And you can investigate how get the donations, and you build a connection with the great donators, and of course you can help with your knowledge, and you approach us, and you can advise. You can come fly to land on some experience to voluntary work, and also you can pray, and also at least you say I am supporter. I support you as much as I can, whatever is my capacity. So yeah, this supporting is you not just supporting somebody's cause, but also this supporting is you just have to realize the help supporting the golden age, which means perfect peace and harmony, humanity, the entirety world.
One moment, it looks like the battery ran out, so. Rinpoche, while we are fixing your microphone, let me just read you the other questions so you can continue to address them. So another question will be, well, what about all of us who, because of limitations from our own governments, will not be able to get visas ever to visit Australia? So what will happen with us? Because it's a beautiful project, but we'll not be able to be a part of it. And another person also wonders, will the golden age only come to the land of Shambhala, or when it comes, will they be able to experience it as well where they are in the world?
Oh, okay. The first question, yeah, if you cut it, then I say the easiest you can support, of course, give donation if you have a capacity. And then the other ways you can introduce others who able to help, and also you can look any good possibilities to the government's grant right, or yeah, you just even your thinking and prayer and voluntary, everything support. So this supporting, you supporting the the peace and harmony for world, for the perfect peace and harmony, for the golden age, for the entirety of the world. Just remember that. Okay, the second question say, some countries easy to get a visa here, come to voluntary, very easy to get a tourist visa. You just apply a tourist visa and then you just come the easiest. Some countries may be a little bit difficult to get a visa, so that's also, if you have skills, then we have to look at many other options. If you have special skills and like that, then we also, our Tibetan Rimé Institute or maybe can help some visas forms. We have to look at those things. The third question was, what about? Forgot.
Does the golden age only happen in Shambhala?
Oh, the golden age eventually for whole world. But to take these steps, we need a physical example of Shambhala on this earth. So that's why we build in the Shambhala realm. So that's the we building. We are still beginning of the building. But who could be fast? This how fast is dependent how much support we have. So my vision is there's a lot already I have, and the ideas I already have a lot of ideas, details, but still continue rises. If there's enough supporters, my vision never run out. Don't worry about it. And so eventually we experience not just at the Land of Shambhala, we're going to experience the perfect peace and harmony for whole world. So so who not wish this? Everyone wish this. With you knowing or with unknowingly. Okay? Yeah. More?
Okay, there's a few more questions about, related to limitations on travel and all of this other stuff beyond COVID. Rinpoche, do you have any vision for there being centers more accessible to people near their homes in other countries? Is one of the questions. So will this be the only one, or do you have a vision for more? And another person's asking is, should they try to make a mini version of Shambhala in their home or backyard to help bring the conditions?
Okay, so the representation of Shambhala is not just like a hippie's way, just use something built in the backyard, and then, you can, good vibe, and, like that kind of, it's not like that kind of wishy-washy, okay? So otherwise we wouldn't have to look for property many years, and we don't have to buy 40 acres of land, okay? So it's something more, not just feeling, but you can experience, you can knowledge level, and your realization level, your experience level, and real physical representations. This is a huge project. It's not something you can build in backyard. So it's not like just symbol, but a more real representation. Like when we say somebody representative, somebody's leaders representative come here, presenting speech, everything, are just a real leader. So similarly, we have to build something. This is the temple, the detail of just one temple is an incredible one. So that's why this today we're talking about this forest and distance is from the beginning. Mainly we please in the council. So not only the reason, but not mainly, but you know, so this is very little basically compare the other temple and how we present the teachings inside. We have a room, for instance, we have a room if people want to become yogini, and you become a Mahasiddha, we have going to have a room. Okay, whatever level of you want to practice, whatever your inspiration, we have a room for everything. So like that. So it's not like you can build in the backyard.
Also, Rinpoche, for those who are wondering if ever in the future there'll be any other space, any other places anywhere else in the world. They're wondering if there'll ever be centers anywhere else in the world because they're concerned they may never get to come here.
Oh. So you have to help this first, and then you have to come there first. That is very, very, very easier, trillion times easier than build in your country. Okay, so that's what we have to do first, and then if we this completed, no problem. We can build every continent and or every country. That time it become easy, because the first one is not easy. Compare the others, but first of all we do so well. We all together, we do so well. Then the others just very fast. The billions people competing each other later on. But this first one, if we not do well, then is going to be slow.
Okay, Rinpoche, there's a question. How they're asking? Some of them have gotten the earth faces that we made, and then some other ones got the Dromi Kazakh face. And they're wondering how these vases relate to their participation in the Land of Shambhala Project and helping bring about the Golden Age. How do those vases relate to this?
The earth, these ones, and as Julie before explained that food forest is a representation of the prosperity. The media we have the Tara Palace. So the Taras, from Taras ritual, we made this earth vase. So that's why you have the connection with Tara, and then you have connection with the Tara lineage come from this Jonang lineage, come from Shambahala, and then you have this connection Land of Shambhala, the food forest. Yes, you have that connection.
Okay, and then the final question. Oh, there's a few more questions. Rinpoche, how does this project relate to the Rime idea?
Yeah, very connected. You see, and the food forest, we have every traditions, the healing sources, the healing figures, we all have, and then we not only just the figures and statues, but we're going to invite all the healers, different traditions. We let them teach. We learn each other, and then we see not just learn each other. Finally, we see we are come from same root. Okay, everybody connecting each other. So we do that. So that's why that means that's why we going to also we connected with Kalachakra. Or doesn't matter you come from which tradition and what you call your presentation. For instance, like Tai Chi, yoga, medicine, astrology, whatever you say, everything, every traditional spirituality and non-traditional spirituality, everything we have to realize, and we interconnected each other. So that's why it's not just my book, but also we experientially we have gathered together and learn each other, and then Land of Shambhala is everyone gathered together and get realization. So it's very, very much Rime. This is everything we should have there, everything. So that's what we try to do.
Okay, and so the last question is, since you're going to build a space for yogis and people to meditate and realize the Kalachakra teachings, will there be some way in the future for people to be able to come here and do period of long retreats?
Yes, you have a space. We make sure space. You have a long retreat, a group retreat, solitude retreat, whatever you want, and and or you. So we make everybody have the connection, find the connection. Everybody understand your how important, what you feel important. We can understand. Not only that, but also your limitations, your problems. There is here your problems and here your limitations. And not just here, but the heal. How do you say heal? Yeah, heal your problems. That is our purpose. So non-sectarianly, doesn't matter what your background, culture, and how your upbringing, your religion, spiritual, non-spiritual, scientific, whatever, we make sure we find the interconnectedness. And then peace and harmony is many levels. We have to understand peace and harmony means many levels, completion, enlightenment.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche, for sharing this vision with us today. If anybody would like to contribute, you can visit the rimebuddhism.com website, and there is information about the project as well as how you can donate and volunteer your skills. We very much appreciate all of the translators who have translated this talk so that we'll be able to share it with all of our community globally in time. So thank you so much for your huge effort, and we look forward to sharing with you all continually as this project evolves. So thank you to everyone tonight.
Thank you, everyone. Good job.